speed technology engine. There should have been among the smarter ones of you, and even those that, it might have taken you a bit to think on it, if in fact you did think on it. But if you did think on it, where there would come a point in your thinking where you would understand and you would ask the question, what fuels this engine? Well, this is where you would learn that they're using a CERN type process, okay, where they basically they mine or create specific particles. And the one that everyone I'm certain is familiar with is the God particle. But they create a particle that then is used to then ignite or fuel this light speed engine. Now, because it's a process that doesn't have all the bells and whistles and moving parts of a regular engine, there are many things that light speed engines under this fuel process of particles being created by some CERN type of process. But I felt it important to show you because this spacecraft down below here, you can see forward that there is a large ring. This would be the forward ring, the ring that basically acquires and produces the particles that are then fed to the second ring closest to the engine, where if you read the technical details of how this engine works, once the particles are produced through the initial CERN ring, the second CERN ring applies an energy, frequency, and vibration to those particles. And the effect is a type of, a push, but in a way that, because it's a form of energy that's not like other types of fuels, and so it produces basically as much as you want to feed it. But the reason I even mention this is because the CERN process is in fact in play in creating the particles, the very special particles, this CERN type process that is going to then fuel this engine. Now, follow with me here because this is important. Once you realize that this forward engine, this forward circle, produces the special particles that are then put through the second ring, which is then hit with energy, frequency, and vibration of very specific settings, is what allows for this special effect that is going to help achieve light speed. Because they're not going to 100%, they themselves disclosed, in order to answer why it doesn't break the laws of physics, they themselves stated this engine would operate at a 99.7% efficiency. This is important, very important, because, follow with me here. You have to, let me try to I'm going to try to keep it simple. It's very technical, very, very technical, and so technical that I know I can't explain it the way that I would need to. But even if I did, you wouldn't be able to comprehend the technicality in the explanation. So I'm going to simplify it for layman's terms between me and you, okay? Because of this CERN type process, in the past, we've always heard these rumors and stories and people doing videos about how CERN, is a type of gateway. They open a portal, they do things, we've heard this. So now that this portal circle is on this spacecraft, follow with me here. The larger one up front, the large circle, in this image you would see item number 3. If in fact those rumors are true, which I believe they are, based on the design of this ship, then the CERN type process, this large ring at the front of this spacecraft, opens a type of portal whether it's dimensional or otherwise, it opens it. It opens a portal or gateway. Now, the light speed engine, which is behind this gateway, is attached to this gateway. Because it has the ability to operate at a 99.7% efficiency rate, it is behind this portal opening number 3. And therefore, any speed generated at all by this light speed engine pushes the portal opening through what we call space. So it opens a portal, and because it's attached to the engine, this portal opening moves through what we would call space. But since the portal opening itself is an opening into someplace else, because I've asked the question, as I'm certain many of you should have, how could you travel at such high speeds and not be subject to the asteroids and the debris and all the fragments of debris that could penetrate your spacecraft? You would need some kind of shielding. Okay, I've always intended this. Even when we went to the moon, there were times if you get hit by even small pebbles traveling at high velocities, it's going to violate the integrity of the spacecraft or whatever. We've seen this in movies where they get bombarded by debris, it tears something up, they lose oxygen, all the drama. But those are real things to consider. But this CERN portal opening at item number 3 is what shields this craft from everything forward of it, okay? Because it's creating a portal opening that is being pushed. So the portal opening opens. Now, I'm not saying we're traveling through it. We're using the portal opening to traverse space. This is what prevents and would shield the craft from everything. Now, once you get back into the discussion of light speed, and as Elon Musk said, because they got to gear it down in order to stop at the right place where you want to be without bypassing it, made me think that perhaps they don't have the control mechanisms like we see in Hollywood movies, where when they come out of warp speed or light speed, they stop. They're not continuing to move like a car that all of a sudden, was traveling 100 miles and it warps into a new dimension and it's still traveling 100 miles an hour. No. This portal opening at the front of this spacecraft this is why it's a light push portal ship. That's what I'm naming it, because it's using a light speed technology attached behind the circle, the front portal opening CERN type circle, that is acquiring and creating and or utilizing, we could say the God particle, but it's very special particles that it is creating or mining as it moves from the ether around it, and then processing it so that the engine then can use it once it's hit with energy, frequency, and vibration. And since the energy level can be maxed out, they don't need to go any more than 99.7%. This is why at 99.7, it is pushing behind the portal opening the spacecraft. Now please note and observe for yourself, because I didn't draw this spaceship, I didn't model it, so it's just me observing. Item 1 is the light speed engine itself. Item 2 is the ring, okay, that is hit with the energy, frequency, and vibration that creates the pulse, the effect of light speed moving. Now, you can see that between 2 and 3 in this image is where you would have to guess all of the inhabitants, the passengers, if there are any, would all be located between ring 2 and ring 3. Now I got to thinking about that, because CERN, if you have any knowledge, and I took an old image to prove my point here, the CERN collider, of course, is a large ring. And the Large Hadron Collider, of course, is a much smaller ring of 27 kilometers. The larger one, of course, is 100 kilometers. And these were early versions of before they were built, but now that it has been built, I want you to observe the large ring has a smaller ring that's basically behind it, but almost on it. So go back to the image down below. The large CERN-like ring up front, okay, is where the particles, God particle, whatever special particles are needed, this is where they're acquired and processed and then sent to ring number 2, where they are hit with a special energy, frequency, and vibration that creates the light speed pulse effect that is created from the CERN ring 3 and the CERN ring 2. I point out that all of the life forms are located between 2 and 3. So let's discuss something now that's going to be a little conspiratorial.